live, the Domestic Estate Manager Studios in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. It's the nation's #1 podcast series in the private service industry. It's time for DEMA Live. Now, here are your hosts, Matt and Mike.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of DEMA Live. I am your host, Matthew Hack, and today we will continue our road to the 2013 DEMA Convention podcast series. I'm joined today by Steve Feldman. Steve is the founder of Kitchen Trader, which offers luxury consignments to consumers and showrooms. Clients of Kitchen Trader can purchase before removal and have their kitchens delivered directly to their homes. If the name Kitchen Trader sounds familiar, this should not come as a surprise, as they've been featured in national media outlets such as the New York Times, CNN, This Old House, Discovery Channel, NBC TV, Success Magazine, ConsumerReports.org, Renovation Style, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, and Kitchen Bath Design News. With over 40,000 monthly visitors, Kitchen Trader and Steve have established themselves as the go-to company when it comes to kitchen remodeling. Steve, how are you, and welcome to the show.
Matt, thanks so much for having me on the show. This is kind of bringing me back to my roots. When I started my career in the working world, I was a rock and roll DJ and then moved into sales. And when I left the radio business after 18 years, I was the senior marketing manager for the Clear Channel stations in Providence and the Imus in the Morning affiliate. So it's great to be back on the air live with the DEMA podcast.
Well, we appreciate having you on board and looking forward to talking a little bit about the 2013 DEMA Convention this year. So before we get started, I always allow all of our guests to be able to go over their background, explain a little bit about how they got their start in the luxury market. So with that being said, how did you come up with the idea for Kitchen Trader?
Well, that's a great question. I was in radio, as I said, for 18 years, and then I left and I was doing fundraising, and I landed in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I was there. I had a really good donor right in the estate world section, and then the economy crashed in 2001, and I saw the Queen of Iran's Rockefeller Mansion being demolished, and it gave me the idea for reclaiming luxury kitchens from mansions. And that's how it all started. In the beginning, it was a pilot program, and then we started Green Demolitions, which did a lot of work to raise money for charity. And then last year, we introduced Kitchen Trader, which was our first national platform, where we actually buy the kitchens from the consumers in the showrooms and sell them before they're removed.
Excellent. And I think one of the cool things that when you and I were talking about your business was you kind of liken it to the purchases that people make in the high-end luxury world. When you buy a Mercedes or a Porsche or a Ferrari, after you're done using them, you wouldn't just take them and throw them in the garbage. So why are people doing that with Sub-Zero, Wolf, and the other high-end luxury kitchen brands?
10 years ago, the automobile industry figured out there's going to be pre-owned cars, there's going to be salvage going on all the way to the scrap yards. The kitchen industry never figured it out in this country. In Europe, it's been going on for years. And part of it is that these, every car fits every road, but every kitchen doesn't fit every home. So it's a more difficult recycling process, but difficult doesn't mean impossible. So what we've developed over the years is this wonderful world-class process for evaluating, removing, and then selling these kitchens to a really unique luxury bargain hunter market in America.
That's fantastic, and I think that what you guys are doing is so commendable, especially in the luxury market, and it's probably something that I'm assuming you probably don't have a lot of competitors out there.
Well, nobody actually does what we do, and part of the reason is it's very difficult to carefully reclaim. It's also very difficult to match up these kitchens with the buyers. But, we started in Greenwich, and in 2001, the economy was just booming in terms of real estate. Values were going up every year, and it was amazing. Wall Street brokers, housewives, doctors became spec builders. They were buying mansions, tearing them down, building mansions twice the size. And some of those kitchens were only 2, 3, 4 years old. So, we grew very quickly. We got some wonderful publicity in New York Times, CNN, This Old House magazine. And, what we offer the homeowner is the alternative to throwing it in the dumpster or having it sit in storage. We're trying to figure out how to reuse it. We just surgically remove it. It all happens in one day. It's insured. It's careful. And then they get 3 different financial options. They can either take a tax deduction, we can consign it for them, or we just straight out purchase it.
Okay, sounds like a pretty easy process to do, and I'm sure that hopefully we'll have some of the estate managers in the process of doing any type of remodeling, have them hopefully reach out to you and ask you if that might be a fit for their current situation.
One of my good estate manager stories is we were in the middle of a project, and one of the estate managers from Los Angeles moved to Long Island in the middle of the project. She happened to be a DEMA member, and when she found out I was involved with DEMA, she got very excited. But most importantly, she loved our crews. They came in, they carefully removed everything. They got the project done in one day. This happened to be a consignment for a client. We had projected the kitchen would sell between $18,000 and $20,000. We sold it for $29,000, so we over-delivered on our estimate. There was one issue where her principal had promised some cabinets to one of their other vendors. We said, look, that's going to reduce the value of your kitchen. We ended up giving him a whole kitchen from our showroom so that he got his promise fulfilled. And, that's how we work. It's white glove, and it's one solution.
Well, we can definitely understand why we have invited you to the 2013 convention as a speaker, especially regarding the topics that you're going to be addressing. And you're going to be involved on a panel that's going to be entitled Managing Relocation. And you're going to be joined by Jim Henderson, who is the founder of WC Huff Moving, Patricia Judge, who is an estate manager from San Francisco, and Sarah Reeser, who is also an estate manager. And you guys are going to be talking a little bit about the relocation process and how to handle those projects. And so with that being said, I wanted to touch on a couple of the key topics or points that you've observed during your time in doing the remodeling and the relocation process, just to give our attendees and potential attendees an opportunity to understand exactly what they can expect from this panel discussion.
I would say in the estate world, when somebody buys an estate, they're obviously buying it for the location, for the home. I mean, in some cases, they'll tear down the whole home or they'll totally remodel it. But in a lot of cases, all they want to do is kind of put their signature on it, and that starts with the kitchen. So they won't even move into the house. They'll buy the house, they'll close, and then they'll take 2 or 3 or 4 months to move in, and that's the time where that kitchen can be turned into cash as opposed to a liability. So it's really important that the estate managers know when their principals are looking at potential properties to buy, that if the kitchen is not something that they like, that kitchen does not have to be thrown out. It does not have to be figured out. We will figure out a solution for them. And what we do is we come in and we evaluate how much value is there in this kitchen and what program would it qualify for. And, one of the things when I first met DEMA is I was told that the estate managers hate waste. They hate to throw out food from yachts. They hate to see things being wasted. And yet at the same time, they're very busy. So the fact that we can solve that one piece of the recycling project and do it in a safe, secured, insured way is a huge resource for the estate management world.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that another point that I would like to hopefully have you guys address is basically better understanding the principles that you work for and understanding the overall flow of the estate that you're working in. Do you guys ever handle any situations with that regarding what type of principal? Are they a principal that likes to throw a lot of parties? Are they a principal that likes to do formal dinners? Do you guys ever get involved in that at all?
Well, obviously we're involved more at the beginning of the construction project, but you make a really good point. It's really about knowing kind of the personality profile of your principal. I mean, we know at the highest level, the billionaire level, those people are green and they're environmentally responsible, but they're also very, very busy. And, when I've even seen, in billion-dollar estates, they'll sometimes the estate manager is trying to figure out what to do with that kitchen. And sometimes since they don't know what to do with it, they'll do things like, that kitchen gets put to the garage and they're going to try to privately sell it. And, in my presentation to estate managers, we say, well, that's a huge liability because now you're inviting the public onto your property. And obviously you don't want to throw it out because that's a waste. And trying to retrofit it means it's probably not going to fit perfectly. Why would you want to take cabinets meant for a kitchen and put them in the garage in a $10 million home? So when the estate managers know that we've got the best solution, that solves the problem. So it is really important to find out what is the personality profile of the principal.
Okay. And then what's your recommendation regarding the hiring process for relocation companies or companies that are going to be coming in? I know that obviously DEMA has a set criteria that we like to look at, whether it be proper insurance, proper licensing, background checking employees. What is your recommendation from your standpoint that can you give some examples of maybe some of the horror stories that you've seen of other companies that have gotten involved and things to look out for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first of all, the number one litmus test is check their insurance, see what kind of liability limits they have. And also, when you're dealing with a company, like we have 25 employees between Kitchen Trader and Green Demolitions, so it's all about follow-up. Is the follow-up timely? When you ask for an insurance certificate, do you get it? When you ask for references, do you get them? So insurance, references, and then also, are you going to see a representative of that company at your home to do that walkthrough? What was the impression you got from that representative? People really love our senior project manager because he's very businesslike. He's very much, he's not interested in, who lives there or, how big the mansion is. He's been there and done that. He's there to find out what that kitchen is, how big it is, get the pictures, and be able to get the information so we can do a proper evaluation. And I think those are three great factors. You talk about horror stories, every once in a while, we have to hire a subcontractor on some of the green demolition projects, not the Kitchen Trader ones. And we brought in a team, and the homeowner was very happy. They said the crew was really nice, but then she said, the only problem was at lunch break, they brought a microwave into my garage, and they cooked their lunch. Now, it's not really a horror story, but it's obviously not the way we would run our crews. And this was a company that did a different style of demolition. They did a good job, but obviously they weren't used to working in luxury estates. And this wasn't a luxury estate, so I was able to use that contractor. But you really don't know what the crews are going to look like until you actually bring them in, and that is a really, really important factor.
So always make sure, that the companies you're hiring are used to being in these homes and have a professional perspective when it comes to working.
Right, absolutely. So, one of the other horror stories I tell is not so much about a subcontractor, but a very wealthy guy in Florida wanted to sell the kitchen on his own, and first he got it removed, and his contractor charged him $20,000 to remove the kitchen, which he got taken for a ride. I mean, on a good day, that should be $5,000 to $7,000. Then when they were moving into the storage bin, one of the workers dropped a cabinet on his nose, broke his nose. He then had to pay $5,000 in uninsured medical. He sold the kitchen for $23,000. He was already -2 before he even had to pay his storage, advertising, and other costs. So he lost money selling his kitchen. And that's, again, an example of you trying to do it yourself, work with, people who aren't set up to work in a luxury estate. He would have probably made $10,000 clean money and not had to pay any cost or have any liabilities working with a company like ourselves.
Or have to waste any time doing all the running around and the monitoring and the managing and all the different things that I'm sure you guys handle. So,
well, absolutely. I mean, it took him something like 4 to 5 months to sell his kitchen, and that whole time he was having to ride herd and manage that project. Where us, it would have been like we came, we picked it up, we sold it online, or we brought it to our store, and it would have been like doing nothing and getting a lot more money for doing nothing. So a lot of times people think if they do it themselves it's going to be cheaper. It's like trying to, fix your Mercedes and you end up screwing it up and it costs you twice as much.
If people want to get in touch with you, how can they go about doing that? Can you throw out your contact info real quick for me?
Absolutely. My direct line is 203-561-9997. That's 203-561-9997. That rings right in at my desk into my computer. You can email me at Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at kitchentrader.com. We have two great websites, kitchentrader.com and greendemolitions.com. So you can see what we're doing. I handle all of the major accounts, so if an estate manager wants to call me, give me the scope of the project, I can give them the timeline, I can give them an idea how it's going to go, walk them through the process, because most estate managers have never handled a kitchen recycling. We've done 2,700 of them, so we are America's most experienced recycler of luxury kitchens.
Outstanding. Well, we really appreciate the time. And before I let you go, Steve, you did attend last year's first annual convention. I wanted to see if I might be able to get you to give a little bit of your perspective regarding the convention from both a vendor perspective and also from what you heard from the private service professionals that attended.
Well, first of all, I was so impressed. I found out about DEMA only a couple months before convention. So what really impressed me was the quality of the presentations, the quality of the private service professionals that were there. They were really there to learn and network and get resources. It was really an amazing convention. And I told Mike Wright this. I said, my only regret was that I did not become a major sponsor for that event. But I remedied that by being a silver sponsor this year. Really, and then I think it was about 4 weeks after convention, I got a call from California, and it led to our first California project. So, going to convention and then, seeing just the interest in what we do. We actually even did a project for Richmond Schmidt. So we're really starting to build a good, referral network and also, experience with DEMA vendors and private service professionals.
Well, we certainly appreciate all the kind words, and we think that you guys, you have a great company, and I'm really excited and happy to have you as the chapter president there in New York, and we're definitely looking forward to a successful 2014. And just appreciate you taking the time and everything that you've done for DEMA and for being on the DEMA podcast today.
Well, that's great. And Matt, since this is running on Monday, if anybody hears this podcast, we've got an amazing meeting. We're now the New York Tri-State chapter, and it's our first Greenwich meeting on Tuesday, August 27th at the McLaren dealership, which is an amazing place. It's part of the Miller Auto Group. So if you want to see the amazing McLaren motor car, come out Tuesday night from 7 to 9 in Greenwich, and email me. I'll get you on the invite list.
All right, sounds good, Steve. Well, I appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you at the convention in September. Thanks to my guest, Steve Feldman, and as always, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to another DEMA Live podcast. If you're interested in more information on how you can become a part of this year's convention in September, visit the convention website at www.demaconvention.com. Once again, that's www.demaconvention.com. Stay tuned for more great podcasts with presenters from this year's DEMA Convention. And remember, even if you're on the right track, you'll get run over if you just sit there.